Hey, welcome back to Eskemoz. Today we're diving into personal development from a different angle. Instead of tips, we're focusing on the pitfalls that hinder self-improvement. Sometimes it's about what you need to stop doing, what you need to let go of. So if you're ready to clear out some of the underbrush on your path to growth, buckle up. We're going on a bit of a journey here. So let's talk about procrastination. It's this pervasive aspect of the human experience. You've got something you know you should be doing, but there's this inexplicable force that keeps you glued to the couch. Procrastination is often a manifestation of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown. But think about it. What is procrastination actually costing you? It's costing you time, that's for sure. Time that you could be spending building towards your goals, pursuing your passions, actually living your life. But it's also costing you something even more precious, your potential. Every time you procrastinate, you're essentially telling yourself that your goals, your dreams, they're not that important. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes. So what's the antidote? It's about confronting that fear head on. Step into the unknown, one small step at a time. Now let's talk about another insidious growth stopper comparison. We live in a world saturated with images, with stories, with carefully curated versions of other people's lives. It's easy to get sucked into the vortex of comparison, to start measuring our own worth against the carefully edited lives of others. But here's the thing. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your focus, your energy. It makes you doubt yourself, your choices, your path. And it's a complete and utter lie, because here's the truth. Your journey is not their journey. You are unique with your own set of experiences, your own strengths, your own challenges. So stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Focus on your own lane, on your own journey. Celebrate your own wins, no matter how small they may seem. The only comparison that truly matters is the one you make between who you are today and who you were yesterday. Now this next one is a bit of a personal one for me. Perfectionism. It whispers in your ear, telling you that everything you do has to be perfect, flawless, above reproach. But here's the thing about perfectionism. It's a liar. It's an unattainable standard, a moving target that will always be just out of reach. And the pursuit of perfection, it can be paralyzing. It's better to create something, to put your work out there, even if it's not perfect, than to be paralyzed by the fear of imperfection. Embrace the imperfections, because it's in the imperfections, in the vulnerability, that the real magic happens. Let's talk about negativity, that insidious voice inside your head that tells you can't, you won't, you shouldn't even bother. It's the voice of doubt, of fear, of limitation, and it's a powerful voice, one that can sabotage your best intentions, undermine your confidence, and keep you stuck in a cycle of self-defeating behavior. So how do we combat this negativity? How do we cultivate a more positive mindset? Well, it starts with awareness. We need to become aware of the negative thoughts, the self-limiting beliefs, the patterns of thinking that are holding us back. Once we're aware of them, we can start to challenge them. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You have the power to choose which thoughts you entertain. Now, self-doubt, it's a universal human experience. It's that nagging voice inside your head that whispers, "Are you sure you can do this?" It makes you question your abilities, your worth, your right to even pursue your dreams. But here's the thing about self-doubt. It often stems from a lack of self-compassion. We're often our own harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and beating ourselves up when we inevitably fall short. So, how do we combat this self-doubt? How do we cultivate self-confidence and resilience? Well, it starts with self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer a close friend or loved one. Celebrate your progress and give yourself permission to make mistakes. Embrace the journey, imperfections and all. Let's talk about expectations, specifically the unrealistic ones we often place upon ourselves. We live in a culture that glorifies instant gratification, overnight success, and the relentless pursuit of more. But here's the problem with unrealistic expectations. They set us up for disappointment, frustration, and even despair. When we don't achieve our goals in the time frame we've set for ourselves, it's easy to feel like we've failed, to lose motivation, and to give up altogether. So how do we set realistic expectations? It starts with understanding that real growth, lasting change, it takes time. Break down your goals into smaller, more manageable steps. Celebrate the small victories along the way. Now let's talk about mindsets. There are two fundamental mindsets that shape our approach to life: the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. The fixed mindset believes that our abilities, our intelligence, our talents are fixed traits, and this belief can be incredibly limiting. The growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that our abilities are not fixed, but rather they can be developed through dedication, hard work, and perseverance. People with a growth mindset embrace challenges. They see setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth. So how do we cultivate a growth mindset? It starts with awareness. Reframe your thinking, embrace challenges as opportunities for growth, and view setbacks as temporary detours on the road to success. Now let's talk about distractions. We live in a world that's saturated with them. Our phones, our computers, our televisions, they're constantly vying for our attention. But here's the thing about distractions. They're productivity killers. They fragment our attention, they disrupt our focus, and they make it incredibly difficult to get anything meaningful done. So how do we combat this deluge of distractions? How do we reclaim our focus and our productivity? Well, it starts with awareness. Turn off notifications, set aside specific times for checking email and social media, create a dedicated workspace that's free from distractions. Make a conscious effort to cultivate focus in your daily life. Now let's talk about the past, specifically the tendency we have to dwell on it, to replay past hurts, to ruminate over past mistakes. But here's the thing about the past. It's gone. We can't change it, we can't undo it, and dwelling on it only serves to keep us stuck in a cycle of pain, regret, and resentment. So how do we let go of the past? How do we break free from its grip and move forward with our lives? Well, it starts with forgiveness. Forgiveness of ourselves, for the mistakes we've made, the choices we regret, the ways in which we've fallen short. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning the behavior or forgetting the pain. It simply means releasing the grip that the past has on us. Now let's talk about the importance of trusting your own instincts. We live in a world where we're constantly bombarded with advice, opinions, and expectations from others. And it's easy to get caught up in the noise, to doubt our own judgment, and to second-guess our own intuition. But here's the thing. You have a unique inner compass, an intuitive wisdom that knows what's best for you. And it's important to learn to trust that voice, even when it goes against the grain, even when it challenges the status quo. Seek out mentors, seek out wise counsel, but ultimately, the decision of what path to take, what choices to make, it rests with you. Trust your gut, trust your instincts. It may not always lead you down the easiest path, but it will always lead you down the path that is right for you. Now let's talk about the importance of adaptability. The world is constantly changing. What worked yesterday might not work today, and what works today might not work tomorrow. If we're not willing to adapt, to learn new things, to unlearn old patterns of thinking and behaving, we risk becoming stagnant, irrelevant, and ultimately left behind. So how do we cultivate adaptability? It starts with a willingness to embrace discomfort, stepping outside of our comfort zones, challenging our assumptions, and being open to new experiences, new perspectives, and new ways of doing things. It also requires a willingness to let go, because sometimes, in order to grow, in order to evolve, in order to become the best versions of ourselves, we need to let go of who we were in order to make space for who we're becoming. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked in the pursuit of personal growth self-recognition. We live in a world that's quick to point out our flaws, to highlight our shortcomings, and to remind us of our failures. But here's the thing. Self-recognition is not about arrogance or egotism. It's about acknowledging our worth, celebrating our victories, and giving ourselves permission to feel proud of who we are and what we've accomplished. Self-recognition is essential for maintaining motivation, for fueling our passion, and for sustaining us through the inevitable challenges and setbacks that we'll encounter along the way. Celebrate your victories, big and small. Let's talk about something that can be incredibly difficult, but incredibly important: toxic relationships. These are the relationships in our lives that leave us feeling drained, depleted, and emotionally exhausted. They're the relationships that chip away at our self-esteem, that undermine our confidence, and that make us question our own worth. Toxic relationships can take many forms. They can be romantic relationships, friendships, family relationships, or even professional relationships. So, how do we identify and escape these toxic relationships? It starts with awareness. We need to become aware of the patterns in our relationships, the ways in which certain people make us feel, and the impact that these relationships have on our overall well-being. Remember, you deserve to be surrounded by people who uplift you, who support you, and who bring out the best in you. Now let's talk about something that most of us try to avoid at all costs: failure. We're conditioned from a young age to fear failure, to see it as a reflection of our worth, and to avoid it at all costs. But here's the thing about failure: it's inevitable. Everyone fails at some point in their lives. And the truth is, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a stepping stone to it. It's through our failures that we learn, that we grow, and that we develop the resilience and the grit that we need to achieve our goals. Embrace the lessons that failure has to teach you. Finally, let's talk about the importance of never settling. Now, I'm not just talking about settling for a mediocre job, a loveless relationship, or a life that's less than what you deserve. I'm talking about settling for a version of yourself that's less than what you're capable of becoming. We all have this incredible potential within us, but it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day grind, to lose sight of our dreams, and to settle for a life that's comfortable, familiar, and ultimately unfulfilling. So how do we avoid the trap of settling? It starts with a commitment to constant striving, to constantly pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones, to embracing challenges, to seeking out new experiences, and to never ever giving up on our dreams. Because the life you're meant to live, the life that's waiting for you on the other side of your fears, your doubts, and your limiting beliefs, it's worth fighting for. So there you have it. 15 growth stoppers, 15 pitfalls to avoid on your journey of personal development. Growth is not a linear process. There will be setbacks, there will be challenges, there will be times when you stumble and fall. But it's in those moments of adversity, that you have the opportunity to rise, to learn, to adapt, and to become even stronger than you were before. Embrace the journey, embrace the challenges, and never ever stop striving to become the best version of yourself.